Samantha had always loved antique houses, the kind that carried stories in their walls and whispers in their wooden floors. So when she found an old Victorian-style home at an unbelievably low price, she didn't hesitate to move in. The house was beautiful, with its grand staircase, chandeliers, and intricately carved wooden doors. But there was one thing she didn't expect: the mirror. A massive, ornate mirror stood in the hallway, mounted on the wall like an unmovable relic from the past. The frame was blackened with age, decorated with twisting vines and faces carved into the wood, their expressions frozen in eerie silence. The first time she walked past it, she barely noticed anything. But then, she caught it. Something was off. She blinked. Her reflection blinked, just a second too late. She frowned and leaned closer, studying her mirrored self. Maybe she was imagining things. Maybe she was just tired. But the next day, it happened again. This time, she smiled absent-mindedly at herself as she brushed her hair. But as she turned away, the reflection's smile lingered, just a little too long. A chill crawled up her spine. She told herself it was nothing. The mirror was old, maybe warped in a way that created an illusion. Or maybe her mind was playing tricks on her. She turned the lights off and went to bed, trying to ignore the feeling that someone, or something, was watching her from the hallway. The days passed, and the strange occurrences continued. Samantha became obsessed with testing the mirror. She would move her arms in random directions, spin suddenly, or blink in odd rhythms. But every time, the reflection was just a fraction of a second off. Then came the night that changed everything. She had just finished brushing her teeth when she decided to test it again. She moved her hand, slowly, then suddenly turned around without warning. Her reflection didn't move at all. It just stood there, watching her, smiling. Her breath hitched, and she stumbled back, knocking over a glass on the sink. The sound shattered the silence, but her reflection still didn't move. It remained frozen, eyes locked on her, the smile widening unnaturally. Then, as if realizing it had been caught, it moved. But not to match her. It moved on its own. The reflection raised its hand slowly and pressed a palm against the inside of the mirror, as if it were trapped, as if it wanted out. Samantha screamed. She ran from the bathroom, slamming the door behind her. But as she stood there, heart racing, she realized something horrifying. The mirror was in the hallway too. And her reflection was still watching her from it. Samantha avoided the mirrors for days. She covered them with sheets, refusing to look at her reflection. But she could feel it, watching. At night, she heard whispers. Faint, slithering voices that seeped through the walls. Sometimes, she thought she saw movement beneath the covered mirrors, like something shifting just beneath the cloth. Then, the nightmares began. In her dreams, she was trapped inside the mirror, pounding against the glass while her reflection stood outside, smiling. She screamed, but no sound came out. The reflection leaned closer, whispering in a voice that wasn't hers, "Your turn." She would wake up in cold sweats, gasping for air. But the worst was yet to come. One night, she decided to take the mirror off the wall, to get rid of it once and for all. She grabbed a hammer, ready to smash the glass into 1,000 pieces. But as she raised her hand, the reflection spoke. "Are you sure you want to do that?" Her blood turned to ice. The voice hadn't come from her mind. It had come from the mirror. She dropped the hammer and stumbled back. The reflection wasn't copying her anymore. It was, tilting its head, watching her like a predator watching prey. "You've been watching me," it said. "Now it's my turn." Then, it stepped forward. Through the glass, Samantha couldn't move. Her legs were frozen in place as her mirror self emerged, one foot stepping out onto the floor, then another. The surface of the mirror rippled like water, distorting reality itself. The reflection was no longer an exact copy of her. It was wrong. Its skin was slightly too pale, its eyes too dark, its smile stretched too wide. It moved closer. "Your turn," it whispered again. Before she could react, it grabbed her wrist. A burning, ice-cold sensation shot through her body. Her vision blurred as the world twisted around her. The walls warped, the room darkened, and suddenly, she was on the other side. She was inside the mirror. She screamed, pounding against the glass, but her reflection, no, the thing that had taken her place, just smiled at her. It stepped away, stretching its new arms, breathing in its new existence. It turned off the lights and walked out of the room, leaving Samantha trapped in the cold, silent prison of the mirror. The last thing she saw before the darkness swallowed her was her own reflection. Smiling.